Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. Today a little bit of something different here. I saw that there was a ladder game between two of my buds, so wanted to cast that here today. We have in the top right, Dewalt, and in the bottom right, Scan. And, you know, definitely I would say Scan is, a fair amount stronger than Dewalt, but it is a two-player map, which is pretty favored towards Protoss, so I'm excited to see how Scan is going to end up dealing with this. Of course, Scan opens with the standard from that Korean players do against non-Korean players. I don't know exactly what turn rate that this was played at, but it was probably 20. Dewalt does actually have very, very good internet. You can see he is deciding not to even engage. Yeah, if you don't play the ladder or watch anyone play the ladder, there is a lot of aggression from the Korean players against the non-Korean players who are playing on anything other than turn rate 24. But yeah, Dewalt has a great connection. He lives in Siberia, so he's not actually that far from Korea and gets like a really reasonable turn rate. So anyways, one thing to mention is this is not like a forward gateway of any type, so we'll see how that affects this game from Scan. Like already Dewalt, this is like a funny thing. I don't understand why he's not going down to steal gas. I really don't. He's just going to play it straightforward. Gas steal is incredibly, incredibly strong. I talk about this all the time. Anytime someone doesn't gas steal, I have to bring it up because you're dictating the flow of the game. And in fact, it's so powerful right now. Terrans right now, a lot of Terrans at the pro level are actually just taking their gas on like 10 supply, just starting it and then going back to mining and making a late barracks. Now against Proxy Gate, that can be problematic. Excuse me, just to mention. Now you'll notice that Scan here is doing a little bit more of the old school, just not making a geyser, instead going towards a gasless expansion. This is just in case there's proxy gates. This is going to be pretty robust against any proxy gate play. His SCV coming up, he doesn't see a gate here. So right now he should be a little bit worried there might be a gate here. But as he gets up and sees the gate in the main, he's going to say, okay, we're just going to expand. And yeah, that's what we should end up seeing here. Now a Zealot does come out. Ooh, gets 2 hits onto Scan's SCV. But yeah, Scan will probably just make a bunker and go Marines nonstop here. He might actually put the gas down as well. I'm not entirely sure because, if the Zealot runs by, it becomes highly annoying. He does make 2 Marines. Okay, so this is where he's going to draw the line in the sand. He'll probably try to block with this SCV some. He does know it's coming. You have to be very much on top of your micro here. Now, he'll get this started. Of course, just because his opponent made that Zealot, this is actually about 20 seconds later than you would normally get it with this build. So Scan right now has these 2 inside. I think Dewalt will just run by. Sees, okay, gasless, not going to be a big surprise for him. Of course, he started his Nexus not that much later, honestly. And now you got to kill this. Dragoon going across. There's a possibility the Dragoon just runs through too. So 2 SCVs chasing this Zealot, and the Marine's going to try to help push it out as well. See, he wants to get some damage on the Marines because then the Dragoon can actually run back and do a good job. But it seems like Scan's micro has been a little bit too good for him right now. Nice. Very, very nice. Oh, misclick there from Dewalt. I think he meant to click on that Marine that was very damaged. So he will push that back. So that was about as good as you can do as an opener here for Scan. Very similar as far as worker counts goes. The factory gets started. Cybernetics Core is already done. Robo is about a third the way done when the factory starts. And the Nexus is just behind the command center. So, 2-player maps are very tough for Terran versus Protoss. But Scan's opening is good enough, I think, here that it's not going to be a huge issue for him. I do think that part of the reason why I wanted to do this one as well, not just because I like both these guys a lot, but during the CNSL run, for those of you who were watching the channel during that time, I felt like Scan was putting out Terran vs. Protoss games of higher quality than ASL players. I actually think he played some of the best TvPs that I've seen. Like, really looked good. So, Blitz is a tough map for Terran vs. Protoss, and definitely want to see what he's going to pull out here against Dewalt, who plays like a very standard modern style. Now, range is on the way. Shuttle coming up as well, so it is going to be a quick Reaver. Dragoon comes down. It's hit by that bunker a little bit. Factory's still being made. And he's going to put a little bit of pressure on here, which is going to be annoying. Now, here's the starport. This is very, very, very popular right now. And you can see how modern Scan is. The 2 factory. Now, because the Dragoons are staying there, he'll make Siege Tank. But 2 factory starport, I think... Well, this is... How do I put this exactly? Okay, so like a year ago, there was some 2 factory dropship builds that were being used where you'd hide the dropship out on the map and you'd act like you were 2 factory pushing them and then you drop vultures in the main. Okay, so that was popular. This is different. And this has just been popping up since Flash did it. I'm not even joking. And I know that there's a dumb guy in the comments that wanted to let me know that no, in fact, everyone's been doing this. It's not the case. I watch all the pro games that I possibly can. And, you know, that day that Flash did this against Snow where he went 2 factory speed vulture with mines into a Wraith. Since that day, people have been toying with 2 factory starport in main base a lot. A lot. So Flash's ladder games are already affecting the metagame. Yeah, like I watched the KCM for the last week, and this was after Flash did that, and there was 2 different TvPs where variations of this build came up. Now in this particular one, it's pure siege tanks from Scan, right? So it's not the same as Flash was doing. I'm just saying this type of idea of going 2 factory and getting a Wraith is something that wasn't popping up and now is. So really, it's amazing to see stuff like this this grow and develop. And of course, it doesn't mean that this is 100% Flash inspired, but that is definitely, we saw him do it, and now suddenly we are seeing it. Now, the Reaver comes out because he does take a lot of damage there. Pulls back 1 very hurt siege tank. Siege mode is on the way. Ooh, that was a good scarab from Dewalt right there. I love the siege tank on the high ground. As well, and he's just going to hold that very easily. Ooh, takes a little bit of damage on that Wraith. Wanted to get another shot off here. Pylon over at that base, probe out here, so good scouting. Pylon down here. He knows there's a Wraith, so he does have to be careful about possible incoming drops. Vulture speed is on the way. No add-on on the starport. +1 coming up, as well as a couple of comsats. So everything looking pretty good here for Scan. I think he's blocked everything well. He didn't really lose anything. He's actually up 6 workers and getting his comsats right now. So this is actually very, very good. The Reaver didn't do anything near what Dewalt was looking for there. Now, Dewalt not getting like shuttle speed or anything like that. Just still producing. It looks like he wants to take another base. Yeah, sets the Nexus in that top left corner. And Scan's going to start to move out. Oh, this is fascinating. Look at this. So he made the 5 tanks, and then he's going into this other bio. The Wraith kind of making sure that the Reaver didn't do anything and he didn't have to buy missile turrets. This is fascinating. This seems like a very weird push timing. Because there used to be some 4 factory plays where you'd make 5 tanks and then add factories and go Vulture and push. But they didn't quite look like this one. So this is definitely different. Really kind of, I'm really interested in this right now. Because actually, you know, I've mentioned a few times how the metagame is actually changing, right? We were in this big 5-fact meta for a long time in TvP, where everything was about Terran going 5-factory and what Protoss was doing against said 5-factory, right? And TvP became like a little bit easy for a little bit there, where Terran player win rates went way up, but Protosses have really adapted, so we see a completely different look. None of this looks like the 5 facts we were seeing before. Like, you'll still see 5 factories. That's still going to be something that's pretty common, especially against Reaver openers, because otherwise you're going to get super mega punished. But yeah, definitely looking different from what we've seen, right? That little 5-fact push out. Obviously, the Wraith, a big difference here as well. Now, Probe's going over to that base for Dewalt. He's still down 4 workers. Citadel coming up. He's on 4 gates right now, getting some photon cannons just for defensive purposes here against possible drop harassment or anything. Of course, we can see that there is no add-ons, so no dropships or anything yet. And in fact, getting that science facility. So a much quicker science facility than what we've seen recently. Second armory coming up as well. So it looks like it's like a 5-factory slightly slower upgrade Terran after that, the 2 factory starport opener. This is cool, guys. Like, my brain is doing overtime right now. I'm like saying things out loud, and I'm like, okay, I gotta remember this. I gotta write this down. I gotta think about this, because this is like, I knew this was a good idea to watch to watch a Scan game, because he's so cutting edge. He's like, anything that's new and strong, he's using. So you can see here, it's like, I really like how kind of middle of the road this is. This is kind of towards some of the ideas that I was talking about in some earlier Flash videos, like maybe some of the games against Bisu and Best, where it's like, okay, maybe upgrade Terran kind of comes back, but it's with more factories. And that's kind of what you see, right? It's a delayed upgrade Terran, 5 facts here, taking a third base reasonably quick, but it's not like a 7-minute third base. And again, I don't mean to say that like all of this is Flash inspired, but some of these ideas, the first time that I saw some of these ideas pop up were in some Flash games, right? And like kind of loose, this is a much more refined thing that we're seeing. And look at this. Gets 4 more factories right now. Dude, this is some really strong play from Scan. This is some excellently strong play. He's got 2-1 coming. He's got his third base coming up. And he's about to be on... This is an insane amount of factories, by the way. 4 plus 5. That's 9 factories on 3 base. I'm kind of getting some chills here. And this is actually excellent because we see that carrier attack is on the way. Now, we don't see Stargates yet. He'll probably put them down here. 4th Nexus coming up, but getting up to 9 factories at this time before the Stargates go up, that's like incredibly, incredibly strong. Like, you need to be able to attack if your opponent goes into that. Now, Scan's setup here, very good defensively. This is kind of standard on Blitz Y. Put some mines down here, throw down some turrets, have your rally point here so you can go in either direction. Now, will Scan try and attack, or will he do something else? By the way, going into the 3rd add-on right now, I absolutely love it. He is really going to maximize his army strength. He's got his 3rd gas going. He's got 65 SCVs already. Doesn't need to make another one. We have the add-on coming up. I think he's going to go into science vessels at this point. I mean, he could go for a dropship as well. And I like as well that Dewalt is upgrading air attack, but not making any carriers yet. Just get ready for that, right? He's instead producing more High Templars. Dude, this is an excellent game. Like, here's the thing. I feel like when I'm casting a game that looks like this, I'm trying to do my best to kind of tell you guys why this is exciting me and why this is strategically so interesting to me. But I realize that there's no action, right? We had a tiny bit of action with a single Zealot and then a single little Reaver push, and both of them kind of failed. And it's just been macro from there. But there's been all these different moves. There's been all this setup into macro and all that. Scan, look at the supply here. Scan is staying right up with Protoss. Like, Dewalt is not going to max before Scan, but Dewalt is going to put pressure on by expanding a couple more times, right? So he's going up to 6 base, basically all at once, and he's got Psy Storm, so he should not attack. If he attacks in, he's going to lose. He should not attack in here. What he needs to do is abuse this attacking out too quickly, right? Going up to 6 base against 3, you're really putting a lot of pressure onto Terran to decide what to do. And whether that is taking the 4th base or that is attacking. And because he has Psy Storms, and I feel like he's maybe overdoing this right here, honestly. Just took my hand off the mouse and pointed at the screen at the Dragoons and the shuttle. You want to make sure that you have enough Storm to really slow your opponent down. Now, he's adding the Stargates. This is the important part. The transition into carriers is tricky here because Scan's ready to kill you if he can. So what you need to do is have Psy Storm whittle it down enough that you can start your carriers, but continue to hold it back and make it go slowly. So Scan starts to push out a little bit. He has these Goliaths up in front to catch the shuttle. Trying to storm these so that the shuttle can't really be caught. Very good storm. Gets rid of all of those Goliaths. I guess there are a few more back here. 3-2 upgrades are started for Scan here as well. Where are those Stargates? Ah, here they are. So he's hiding the Stargates kind of in a funny location in the top left. That's normally a base you don't really attack. Maybe you'll send 2 tanks off to the side if you gain control of a different area, but Yeah, that's not a bad place to put him. Over here is good, too. Just hard places for Terran to attack into. So, a little group from Dewalt here, and the rest of his groups up here. A lot of Psystorm in there. EMP is not ready. He has energy, but it's not ready. If he can get up here and snipe some of these High Templars, that will be huge. Because this is all about not losing everything to Psystorm right now. Because the army is stronger for Scan, for sure. Like, he's been allowed to build up. He's played such a good, strong game defensively that his army is insanely, insanely strong right now. But if it moves too quickly, it can get cleaned. Now, Dragoons that Dewalt left here are slowing down that 4th command center. So this was actually, I think these Dragoons, this loss was worth it for sure. Right? He put some damage on there. He made this turnaround. Now you got to go up and regain your position. Dewalt has units a little bit further down the map. And we're going to see some Psystorms now. This is the important moment. Here we go. Dewalt coming in, dropping out some Psystorms. Excellent, excellent Psystorms go down over these siege tanks. Really insanely good Psystorms here. He has really reduced that siege tank count, and in fact, more going off. Look at this. Look at this. He gets him down to 6 tanks. That's kind of crazy. Gets him down to 6 tanks, guys. We were both maxed out, and now Dewalt definitely up in supply a little bit, but Scan is going to start pushing. A lot of those Dragoons died, so there's not a lot to slow him down now. But carriers are on the way. I got to say, I think Scan's in the perfect position here. As long as he knows that carriers are being made and he makes a group of Goliaths. Because I could see, like, maybe this push comes up, kills this, maybe he pushes over towards here, and then carriers come over and there's like 2 Goliaths, right? That's where the game could still go wrong here for Scan. Scan, of course, taking this base, floating a command center to the bottom left. Yeah, clearing these probes really, really quickly. A lot of pain here for Dewalt. Brings a lot of Zealots over, but I tell you what, if you don't have Dragoons in there, this is not that scary. Obviously, he's sieged and there's mines in with his tanks, so he'll probably end up losing all this. Yeah. But yeah, in general, like, if it's just Zealots and High Templars, it's not nearly as scary. You can really out-micro that. So he is going to be able to kill off that Nexus. Don't forget, Dewalt has this base down here. I think this is a pretty important base because it is so hard for Scan to attack. I don't know if he's going to pop in a dropship or not. The first couple carriers are out. 3 more are on the way. Still, Dewalt just trying to slow everything down. This is a very important thing, and Scan should realize that it's carriers on the way. At this point, these armies are so small that he's battling with. You got to ask yourself, where's the money? Where's the supply? And in this case, it would be like, oh, there's a carrier switch finally going on. So Scan sieges up. The Reaver still slowing him down a little bit. Okay, does pop that. Can kill this Nexus pretty quickly. But that's still going to be 3 mining bases for Dewalt after he kills this, just to mention. Scan expanding over to the middle left. And here are those carriers. And notice that this is exactly the situation we were talking about, right? Scan's up here killing bases. He's got only a handful of Goliaths. So the carriers, they aren't, you know, full-on interceptors yet, but only 5 Goliaths in here, plus a few extra units running in. Throws down D-Matrix on one of them. Dewalt trying to build that carrier count. It feels to me like Scan has the right production, the right upgrades, the right everything right now to be able to close this game out. I don't know if Dewalt is going to be able to get enough carriers to make the difference. But, like, if, for instance, he could kill all these tanks, that might allow him to swing back into some gateway units as well. One thing to mention is I did see that a dropship was being made, a couple dropships, in fact, so he is going to go after those island bases of Dewalt, which is really, really, really important. Dewalt actually accidentally not mining that much here. Now, Scan is just producing Goliaths and dropships at this point. Just coming forward, there's no splash damage here to slow down his push anymore. Maybe a small mistake there from Dewalt not to have a couple. 3 more carriers coming in, so we are getting to pretty scary numbers. But he's... Well, you know what? Here's the thing. If Dewalt can actually kill the Goliaths and then kill off the siege tanks, again, this is going to make a gigantic difference in the game. If you lose the siege tanks, suddenly the Goliaths are having to fight against gateway units as well, and they don't want that. You want your siege tanks to clear the gateway units so the Goliaths can just deal with carriers. But he's got so few Goliaths, finally now bringing up some more. A lot of siege tanks do, in fact, get picked off. We have a little group of units out here, and still the drop hasn't gone off. So there are a couple drop ships. Hopefully he'll drop something down there to deal with that. The Goliath's still trying to fight against these carriers, but they are getting picked off. Oh man, the mine's clearing a lot of this army. Dewalt re-expanding here. Scan taking that mid-left base. And 7 carriers is pretty scary. One of these very, very, very low. And in fact, he has an 8th carrier over here. We're really getting to those numbers that are incredibly hard to deal with. And the air attack, let's see if we can find one that actually has all its interceptors. I guess we can't right now. There it is. +2. So he has +3 on the way right now. So excellent, excellent attack upgrades there. Of course, 3-2 for Scan with +3 armor on the way on these Goliaths. So they are very well upgraded. We'll see if he can pick off that red one. The red one is kind of hidden underneath here, so a little bit hard to target. Dude, the carriers. You know, the Goliaths are just being rallied in right now. This is becoming pretty problematic for Scan. Honestly, I think positions like this on a map this hard, when you get that type of lead, it's hard because it's like, okay, do I use my full macro production to get my upgraded Goliaths? Sometimes I think it's correct to go into Wraith in weird positions where your opponent is getting low on income, right? Because then you can pick off observers and maybe kill them. One thing to mention, because every time there's a carrier game, people talk about Valkyries. Guys, Valkyries do not deal splash damage to interceptors. Everyone's shocked when they learn that. But this gets... Everyone says this in the comments, and I try to respond to them all because I want people to understand. Valkyries do not deal splash damage to interceptors. And carriers have the largest base armor in the game at 4. So Valkyries are garbage against carriers. They don't do anything, okay? It's been tested. It doesn't do anything. EMP goes down on the carriers, but you got to catch them to make that work. It's another thing people are like, why don't you EMP the carriers? It's because you can't hit the carriers anyways, man. They just stay out of range. It doesn't matter if they're EMP'd. It's not like you want to kill interceptors. It's just what you can get. Now... Dewalt is down about 80 supply, right? But he's re-expanding. So he's trying to get up to 3 base. Obviously, Scan lost this base, which is a bit painful, but he has a lot of money. He has a lot of supply as well. And I think he has enough to end up breaking this. But I feel like, oh yeah, Dewalt, this is a mistake. He needs to get back. Like, what he needs to do is stand on a high ground with High Templars. Yeah, see this? See how many High Templars he has here? So this is at least 9 Psy Storms. 9 Psy Storms plus this many carriers is not really breakable for this, right? So that could be an issue. He does have EMP, maybe. If he could EMP here, the game is pretty much his, I think. Oh, he should target that. Okay, he tries to EMP the carriers again. And here comes the flank. All right, couple Psy Storms going to be going down. Yeah, pull him back, pull him back. You need those tanks to kill off the High Templars before they wreck everything. And it looks like we have 3 Goliath drops. Oh my god, mass Goliath drops coming in. And a few mines here as well to help against the ground army. But here is the actual really important battle right now. The Psy Storm's going down on the carriers. I don't think Dewalt has quite enough here. Like, he throws 3 Psy Storms at once right before everything dies. And he does definitely damage the Goliaths overall. But there should be enough here at this point. I think Scan has basically done it. GG, but a really well-fought game on both sides. I think Dewalt basically was doing everything he needed to do. I think he was a little bit lower in High Templars than maybe he could have been. Like, I remember when this attack was happening up here, the initial push where the carriers came out, he had like 900 gas and it was all like zealots out, right? So... could have been a little bit better on that, try to grind down a bit more. And he played very defensively, and he played in this area of the map. Sometimes it's better to give things up and then start diving into this area with your carriers. That can be really, really, really tough because you can always fly back, defend this area, kill things that are trying to rally to your base quickly, right? Go back and defend your main. But I think it was a really well played game on both sides, and unbelievably super hyper modern play from Scan as well. I really like seeing the evolution here of what the new Terran vs. Protoss metagame is going to look like. And the fact that he's going like 2 factory siege tanks into a Wraith, into a small push, 5 fact, 3rd base, upgrade Terran, into 9 facts. Honestly, best take on new TvP I've seen, and I'm not just saying that. Okay. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and we will see you next time.